The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the tranquil surface of the lake. 4 friends, Mia, Ethan, Claire, and Ryan, had set out on this weekend retreat to escape the busyness of their lives. A secluded cabin, hidden deep in the woods and perched by the edge of a pristine lake, was their chosen sanctuary. The road had been long and winding, the trees closing in around them as they drove deeper into the forest. Finally, after what felt like hours, the dirt path opened to reveal a rustic log cabin with a small dock extending into the shimmering water. It was picturesque, the kind of place people dreamt of for a weekend getaway. Mia, always the planner, had been the one to find the cabin online. She couldn't wait to show her friends the hidden gem. The excitement was palpable as they unloaded their bags, eager to relax and enjoy their time away from the city. "This place is perfect," Claire exclaimed, stepping out of the car and inhaling the fresh, pine-scented air. Ryan chuckled, slinging his bag over his shoulder. "Yeah, as long as it doesn't turn into one of those horror movie setups." Ethan grinned, nudging him. "If anyone's dying first, it's you, man." They laughed, brushing off the joke as they entered the cabin. Inside, the air was cool, the wood creaking under their feet. The decor was simple but charming, with rustic furniture and a stone fireplace. A large window overlooked the lake, allowing sunlight to pour into the living room. Mia handed out room assignments, and the group quickly settled in. By the time dusk began to settle, they gathered outside on the porch, sharing stories, laughter, and a few beers. But as the night grew darker and the moon rose high in the sky, a feeling of unease slowly crept in. An unsettling silence blanketed the woods, broken only by the gentle lapping of water against the shore. "Did anyone else notice that the cabin's basement door is locked?" Ethan asked casually as they headed back inside. Mia raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "Yeah, I tried to go down there earlier to check if we could find a barbecue grill or something, but the door was bolted shut." Ryan shrugged. "Probably just where they keep the cleaning supplies or something." But Claire frowned. "Why lock it though? It's strange." The group exchanged uneasy glances but decided to brush it off. Little did they know, the locked door was only the beginning of a terrifying discovery. The next morning brought with it a sense of normalcy. The group spent the day hiking, swimming in the lake, and enjoying the serene beauty of their surroundings. But Mia couldn't shake the thought of the locked basement door. It gnawed at her curiosity. By late afternoon, they were all sitting around the living room, basking in the afterglow of a successful day in nature. Ethan, ever the joker, was fiddling with a small chest he had found in one of the closets. "Hey, look what I found," he said, holding up an old iron key. Mia's heart skipped a beat. "Where did you get that?" "Closet upstairs?" he shrugged. "Maybe it fits the basement door?" Ryan leaned forward, intrigued. "Are we really doing this?" Claire hesitated. "I don't know, guys. Maybe it's locked for a reason." But Mia had already made up her mind. She stood up, her fingers itching to hold the key. "Let's just see what's down there. It's probably nothing." With reluctant agreement, they gathered in front of the basement door. The old wood creaked under their weight as they approached. Mia took a deep breath and slid the key into the lock. It turned with a soft click. The door swung open with an eerie groan, revealing a dark staircase that descended into the unknown. A damp, musty smell wafted up from the depths below, sending shivers down their spines. "Maybe we should wait until daylight," Claire suggested, her voice wavering. But Mia, now emboldened by the thrill of discovery, shook her head. "It's fine. We'll just take a quick look." Ethan grabbed a flashlight, and the group cautiously began their descent. The stairs were steep, and the air grew colder the further they went. The beam of the flashlight danced along the stone walls, revealing strange markings that none of them could decipher. At the bottom of the stairs, they found themselves standing in front of a heavy, iron-bound door. Unlike the first, this one had no keyhole, only a rusted latch. Ethan hesitated, then reached for the latch. Should we open it? Without waiting for a response, he pulled it down, and the door swung inward with a slow, agonizing creak. What lay beyond was far worse than any of them could have imagined. The room beyond the door was unlike anything they'd ever seen. It was dimly lit by a few flickering candles that seemed to have been burning for an unnaturally long time. In the center of the room stood a large, ancient table. its surface covered in dust and strange artifacts. On the walls were shelves lined with old books, jars filled with murky liquids, and objects that looked like they belonged in a witch's lair. The air was thick with an acrid metallic scent, and an unsettling silence hung over everything. "What the hell is this place?" Ryan whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of their hearts. Mia stepped forward, her eyes drawn to a leather-bound book lying open on the table. The pages were filled with strange symbols and what looked like diagrams of the human body, dissected, labeled, and meticulously detailed. "I don't like this," Claire murmured, backing away from the table. "We shouldn't be here." But Mia was captivated, her fingers tracing the symbols on the page. "This isn't just a basement, it's something else." Ethan, meanwhile, was examining a row of jars on one of the shelves. "Guys, these are organs, human organs." Ryan's face went pale. "No way, you're messing with us." Ethan shook his head, his face grim. "I'm serious, look at them." The group huddled together, their eyes darting around the room. There was something deeply wrong about this place. It felt ancient, forbidden, as if they had uncovered a secret that was never meant to be found. Claire's voice trembled. "We need to leave, now." But as they turned to go, the door slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang, plunging the room into total darkness. Panic set in as they scrambled to find the door in the darkness. Mia fumbled for her phone, but there was no signal and the flashlight had died. The air grew colder and a strange, oppressive feeling settled over them. "Open the door," Claire shouted, pounding on the wood, but it wouldn't budge. Ryan tried to force it open, his shoulder slamming into the door again and again, but it was no use. They were trapped. Ethan's voice was shaky. "We shouldn't have come down here." Mia, still clutching the book, felt a sudden rush of fear. Something was watching them. She could feel it. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end as a soft whisper seemed to echo in the room, though no one spoke. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The others fell silent, listening. The whisper came again, faint and unintelligible, like a breeze passing through the room. It seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "What the hell is that?" Ryan muttered, backing away from the center of the room. Mia's heart raced as she glanced at the book in her hands. The symbols seemed to shift and change before her eyes, as if they were alive, writhing across the page. She dropped it in horror, the sound of it hitting the stone floor echoing ominously. "Something's here with us," Claire whispered, her eyes wide with terror. As if in response, the candles flickered and then snuffed out completely, leaving them in absolute darkness. In the suffocating blackness, the friends clung to one another, their breaths ragged. Fear hung thick in the air, each second stretching into an eternity. Mia's mind raced, replaying everything they had found. The locked door, the eerie symbols, the jars filled with human remains. "This place, it's cursed," Mia finally whispered. "It's a trap." Ryan's voice trembled. "What do you mean?" Mia swallowed hard, piecing together the fragments of the mystery. "The door, it was locked for a reason. This basement isn't just some storage room. Whoever lived here, whoever built this, was hiding something." Ethan shuddered. "But what? Why lock it up if they were already gone?" Claire spoke up, her voice laced with dread. "Maybe they never left." The whispering grew louder, and for the first time, the group could make out words. "You shouldn't have come." Suddenly, the room began to shift, the stone walls seeming to pulse with an unnatural energy. The shelves rattled, and the jars teetered precariously on the edges, spilling their grotesque contents onto the floor. "We have to get out of here," Mia said, her voice breaking. "We need to find another way out." But as they searched the walls for any sign of an escape, the whispering grew louder, more insistent. The ground beneath them seemed to tremble, and in the distance, they heard the sound of something heavy being dragged. Ryan froze. "What is that?" Ethan's face went pale. "We're not alone." The unseen presence was closing in on them, the dragging sound growing louder and more ominous with every passing second. Desperation set in as they searched frantically for a way out, their hands clawing at the stone walls. "Here," Claire shouted, pointing to a small hidden door in the far corner of the room. It was barely visible, half obscured by the shadows, but it was their only hope. They rushed to the door, their hearts pounding in their chests. Ethan grabbed the handle and yanked it open. revealing a narrow passage that led upwards towards the light. "Go! Go!" Ryan urged, shoving Mia and Claire through the opening. One by one, they scrambled into the passage, the walls pressing in on them as they climbed. The air was thick with dust, but they could see the faint glimmer of daylight ahead. Behind them, the dragging sound grew louder, more insistent. Whatever was in the room with them was getting closer. Mia was the last to climb through, her hands slipping on the damp stone as she hoisted herself upwards. She could feel the presence just behind her, a cold, malevolent force that sent shivers down her spine. With a final burst of strength, she pulled herself up and out of the passage, collapsing onto the grass outside. The others were already there, breathing heavily, their faces pale with fear. They didn't stop to look back. Without a word, they ran. Away from the cabin, away from the lake, and away from whatever horrors lay hidden beneath the surface. The curse of the cabin would remain, buried in the darkness, waiting for the next group of curious souls to unlock its secrets. But Mia knew one thing for certain: they had barely escaped with their lives. The cabin had let them go, but it wouldn't be so merciful to the next.